everyone, this is Jann, Elite One-Stroke Instructor, and we did this little painting in OSA class, which is One Stroke Advantage class, yesterday, and there were a few requests on how to use the blending gel, and that's what I'm going to show you today. Now, if you want to learn how to paint this painting here, you would need to go to Donna Dewberry YouTube channel, and you can click on membership, or she has links there where you can click on One Stroke Advantage and it'll give you all the information to join. I belong to OSA, which is $19.95 a month, and we get 4 paintings, 4 lessons, and we also get a pattern and color worksheets with every class that Donna does. It's well worth the money, and her paintings are just so nice to learn to paint. But what I want to show you on this little painting, I can't teach you how to do this whole painting here because you would need to join OSA in order to learn how to paint that. But I'm going to show you how I use the blending gel to do these large petals. So I have left one petal right here that is blank, and I'm going to show you how I use the blending gel, which is this right here. It's by Plaid Folk Art. Now, if you want more blending time, there are other slow drying mediums that you can use, and I do use some of those depending on how much drying open time that I want with acrylics. With the Folk Art blending gel here, you can get about 5 to 7 minutes of blending time on it. But sometimes if you need more blending time for skies and clouds and seascapes, that sort of thing, you can use a slow dry medium. So what I did first was, let me zoom in for you so that we can get this in the camera here, this whole petal here. Let's scoot it over this way. Okay, that's good right there. So I have some mop brushes here. Now Donna sells this on her website, onestroke.com, and you would need to purchase this set of mop brushes. Now you get a large one and you get a smaller one with the package set. I just have 2 different sets because whenever I'm doing petals or that sort of thing, I want one mop brush for the lights and one for the darks. That way I don't have to keep cleaning the brush. So I have those 2. I also have a 16, which is from Donna's specialty brushes that she sells. You can also buy a 16 by itself, but that's a good size whenever you're doing these petals here. Now I've already dampened these brushes in water. I have blotted them on a paper towel, and whenever you use the mop brush, what you want to do, blot it, but then before you paint, just come in with a paper towel, and I take the paper towel and I just pinch the bristles. I don't pull on them, I just pinch it to remove the excess. Now take the palm of your hand and flip it up and fluff that brush around. And if you don't see any wet water on your hand, then your brush is okay. It's not going to be too wet to go ahead and start painting. Now you want to keep a paper towel right here close to you, because after you start blending, you're going to be wiping your brush off on that paper towel. Okay, so keep that close by right there. And the first thing that I want to do is get my colors out here. Now this is the double loader palette. It's a stay wet palette, and I have to have this. I live in California. It gets really hot in the summertime, so I need a palette that will stay wet. It has a sponge. See, there's a sponge for the top, and I put it on like that, and I can keep these paints for over a month, and they will still be workable. So that's what I like about it. Now in the center here, I have floating medium. I am not using floating medium to do the big petal. I do use it whenever I do the floats on this. You can see I floated right in this area. I will use the floating medium for that. But for doing the petals, we are going to use the flat brush, and I am going to be using the magenta, which is this color right here. And I will probably float with some berry wine on that. And I will also, for the overstroke, go into the white area there. And I have my blending gel just in a little cap here. Yeah, you can see it there. And it's gel. You want to get gel. You don't want to get a liquid slow dry, because that just goes everywhere. But I have some here. So the first thing you want to do, let me scoot that out of the way, is pick up your flat. And I am just going to take some of this gel, work some of this gel into my brush here. I'm going to dress it with some of the blending gel. And I'm going to set this down up here. I'll set it maybe right there, maybe. Nope, you can't see it in the camera because I'm zoomed in. And then what I want to do is block in my colors. So the magenta is the center color here, and I'm just going to take it and pull out some color, work that into my brush. Okay, I got both sides loaded. I don't have to load it up a lot, just like that. I'm going to set this down. And I'm going to start, I want it magenta here, and I want it lighter on the edges when I start pulling in. So I don't want to get too close to those edges. Pick up more gel, go into your magenta again, and we're just going to slip slap color like this. Okay, now I'm going to go into some dark. I'm going to go into, not cleaning my brush, I'm just going to go into a little berry wine here. And I'm just going to go around this. I may have to come back and clean this up after I do this one petal. Normally I would do this one petal. You would want to do that before you did the one on top. See, I do this one before I did any of these, but this was a big petal, and I thought, oh, this would be a really nice one to use to show a demonstration on the blending gel. Okay, I'm going to go up about that far. This is called blocking in your color. Now, if you don't want to cut into your paint, take your paintbrush, lay it flat like this with these two fingers, and you can pull the paint on, and it will stay on a little easier. You won't be grinding into that canvas. Okay, let's wipe our brush off. And I'm just going to wipe it like that. Just pull. Now I want to add white up here, so I'm going to pick up white. I'm going to go into blending, little blending gel first. Go into the white. And let's block in. You mainly want to get the outside edge pretty close to where it needs to be. There we go. I want a little bit over here. Now at this point, I can wipe this brush off. Okay, just wipe it off like that. And I can chalk blend this back edge a little bit here. Just like that, real soft chalk blend. Like that. Now remember, this has the gel already in it. Okay, I'm going to wipe that off again. I'm going to lay this on top of my water bucket there. And I am going to pick up one of these mop brushes. Okay. And I want, this one's going to be used for the light color, and I'm going to take the white and pull it into the pink. Okay. Let me set this down here. This is dry over here. Okay, I'm going to pick up a little bit of blending gel. This is the mop brush. Just dip into it a little bit. Then I'm going to come over here. And I'm going to pull some white out. I'm loading one side, not loading the other side, just one side. Okay, set that down. Now I've got 2 paper towels over here. Okay, and we want to blend this. I'm going to pull this up here like this. But I would really like it if it was this direction. So I'm sorry to have to pull that with you, but I think it will be better. Let me get it. There we go. All right. We're going to pull this direction. If the center of this flower is there, we're pulling that direction. This is the longest stroke. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to pull down and I'm going to wipe my brush. Wipe the back end of the brush off. See all the pink that came off? Now we do that, let me get back in the camera here. We do that because if I come back and come down, it's going to pick up the pink back here. Okay, and your petal up at the top won't be as white. But some areas you want it to be somewhat pink. I'm trying to get this 1114 canvas in view here. Okay, I'm going to keep it a light pink because we're going to come back and we are going to blend the other direction. Okay, so we have some white blending down here. That's blending nice because it's wet. Now if you can paint fast enough like Donna, you don't have to use the blending gel. Alright, I'm going to flip this. Here we go. I'm sorry to have to do this, but I have to be facing the right direction. Just a minute here. Let me get in view here. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Okay, and we are right here on this petal here. Now I'm going to take the other mop brush, doesn't have anything on it yet. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to dip into some gel, and then I'm going to come back with some of the magenta. Pull my palette over here, pull out a little bit of that magenta. And we're going to start in the back here. I'm going to touch, pull up. Did you see what that did? Then you want to wipe your brush. I can put my towel right here. See, I'm going to wipe that back edge off. And I am doing a really soft blend. I am barely touching this canvas. I'm going to pick up a little more paint. Touch. Pull. See what a nice blend you get with that? Because it's wet. Touch, pull, touch, pull. Now if you want that to remain a nice darker color, you have to wipe that brush each time, or you will pick up the white. Because you're pulling into the white, you'll pick up the white, and the white will end up down here. But you can come back and refloat that if you want to. See how light that is now? See, because I didn't wipe the brush on that back edge. And I'm just wiping it just a little bit. Now you can pull up as far as you want to pull up. If I want to come and just pull up a little higher, just do that. Just wipe off the back edge there before you make another stroke. Let's take this one. Let's come up a little more. See how you can just come up a little more? It's really nice to have the blending gel because it makes a really feathered edge on it. Now see, I didn't wipe that brush and I picked up some of the white, and then some of the white came in down here. Alright, so now I'm going to wipe the back end of the brush there. Now I can still come back with some white. I'm going to lay that brush aside. This is the brush I used for the white. I'm just going to blot it down. Let's see, I might be able to get that on camera. There it is. Okay. Alright. See if I can do this backwards here. It's probably... There we go. Now wipe the brush off. If I want to strengthen that white a little bit, I can re-add that white. Okay. And if you want to add, I'm going to lay that brush down. If I want to come back, it's always easier to float a little color back there. But let's just say that I want a little deeper color right here. I can go into the magenta. Let's see if I can get that on camera. The magenta is this color right here. Let me just pull a little bit of magenta on this brush. Okay. Let's just pull a little bit of that magenta in here. Right in there. Okay, now pull up some. There's your up. Right here in the deepest part of that petal. Okay, let's load it again. Right in here where you have part of that petal that dips down. Okay, let's see if you can see that. Yes, you can see that. See the little edge? Right there. I am barely touching this. There we go. And I also use the Dioxine Purple. It's a great color. In fact, I'll pick up a little bit of that. Blend it in. Okay. Let's use that color over here. I'm just barely touching that. So you see how you can come in and you can blend some other colors in here while it's wet. That's what's so nice about the gel. Now, how do you know when your gel has reached its drying time? Is I can tilt this canvas. Can you see the sheen on that? That means that that area is still damp with some of your gel. Now if I touch this, I need to put my brush down. If I touch that, see how it left a mark? So it's still wet enough for me to blend. See how I just went back over that and blended that out. Now what will happen is this will dry. It'll start drying in different areas. Okay, I'm going to tilt. There's that shine. Right now, it's pretty wet all over, but it's going to start setting up. And when it starts setting up, what you're going to have is it'll be tacky to the touch. And when it's tacky, you can come back in and you can add more highlights up in here like we have on these right here. So let me get rid of this brush. Let me pick up the white. I'm going to turn this. Okay, and I'm going to see, yeah, that's a camera. I don't have anything tall enough to rest this on. Let me get a paint bottle here. Okay, let's go over here like this. I can't find my paint bottle. Okay. This is all dry. That's why I have a paper towel on it. So I'm going to come back again, and I am picking up some of the white on the back end of this brush. Look, see how I make a chisel edge? Isn't that neat? Let me get my, here. Okay, so I'm going to come back, and I'm just going to re-highlight some of these areas right here, and then pull down. Touch it and pull. Edge it, and then touch it and pull. So I can do that while it's still damp with this blending gel. Now if you want kind of a dry brush, and this looks kind of neat, I've done that up in some of these other petals, have a little bit of a dry brush, and I got a little bit right there. What you can do is just barely touch. Now see, it's wet. It might be too wet to do this. And you can lean on one edge or the other and come back. See, and I can pull that highlight down a little further if I want. Go on Google and look at some of the pictures of poppies and stuff on how they're ruffled on those edges there. It's just a matter of placing your lights and darks. But I could do a little dry blend once it sets up a little bit more on that. I don't want to get it too streaky. Okay. I'll set that brush aside. But that's how you would do that with your, let me turn that around, with using your blending gel. And I really like the blending gels because I'm an oil painter. I painted oils for like 25 years. And when I came into one stroke, I had never even used acrylics. And that was back in 2000, but I knew if I wanted to learn a technique using acrylics, I fell in love with Donna's roses that she did, and I knew I wanted to learn that style of painting. So then I went to San Diego and I became certified, and I started learning how to work with acrylics. And then when I started learning about the extenders and blending gels that you could use with your acrylics, it just made it so much easier, because there's some times I want to work wet and wet, but I don't want to use a whole lot of paint. I still like my work to be fairly smooth on the canvases. I don't want a lot of paint unless I'm doing palette knife or something like that. I still want it to be nice and smooth and sleek, and that just comes from doing your tole and decorative painting. I guess you kind of never get over a certain style that you like. But I like the one stroke better because I don't like to be so precise in everything. And one stroke allows you to do a lot of different styles in your painting. So I do like the one stroke really well. Now let me go ahead and zoom out. Now the only other thing that I did, I'll put my palette up, the only other thing I did in this painting was come through and do a lot of floating the darks and refloat some of the light colors. Once this dries, I can come back and refloat some of the light colors. Now the only thing is, if you want to come back into this once it starts to dry, you would need to let it completely dry. Use your hot pen, I think is what they call it. Or you use a blow dryer, a heat pen, that's what they call it. And Donna has those on her website also. And you can dry this, and you can reapply your paint. I did that to this petal here. It was too dark. I wanted it lighter, so I let it completely dry. I came back and I wetted it with the magenta and a little bit of the Juneberry with the blending gel, and I started, and then I came back with the white again. So you just completely redo your petal again, but just make sure it's dry before you do that. It'll start pulling up paint if your canvas isn't dry for that. Then you just put your center in and go sign up for OSA. It is wonderful, and Donna has some beautiful paintings on there that you can learn to paint. Well, that's all I have for this lesson here. If you have any questions on blending gels or anything, just go ahead and send me a private message on my Facebook, Jann Mendenhall, and I will be glad to help you or answer any questions that you have. I also do private lessons in one stroke, do private lessons in oils. I do not do certifications at this time, but I do skill builders. If anyone would like to do skill builders, as long as they're not being certified, I can take you through your skill builder lessons, and that's what I'd recommend for any beginners out there. Is go through your skill builders, do 1, 2, 3, 4, and lesson 6, and you will be well on your way to learning to paint with Donna. So if any of you are interested in taking those lessons, you could do one lesson a week, and it would only take you 5 weeks to get through it. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you've learned something, and until next time, bye for now.